The sharp, bitter sting of smoke yanked Samuel Holt from sleep, a rude jolt in the quiet of his family's old ranch house. At 72, Sam had lived his life by the land's rhythm, sun up, sun down, season after season. But this smell, thick and choking, didn't belong in the crisp pine and cedar air of his sprawling home. His heart, steady for decades, pounded like a war drum as he stumbled out of bed, bare feet finding his worn boots by instinct. Outside, the pre-dawn sky glowed a sick, angry orange, painting the ancient cottonwoods around his homestead in sharp, menacing silhouettes. Those trees had seen generations of Holt's births, deaths, triumphs, and losses in this land. Sam threw on a denim jacket over his flannel pajamas and crossed the creaking pine floorboards to the Lee V.Y. Ing room's big window. His calloused hand, rough from a lifetime of roping cattle and mending fences, shook as he pulled back the curtain. What he saw stopped his breath. The west pasture, the beating heart of Holtstead Ranch, was a screaming inferno. Flames clawed at the sky, devouring the old barns, the stables, the carriage house buildings that had stood for over 150 years. His great-grandfather's smithy, where stories were forged alongside tools, was a skeleton of fire. The blaze ate history, memory, and legacy with a hunger that turned Sam's gut to ice. A low growl rumbled his chest, grief twisting into something harder, sharperage. "They did it," he whispered, voice raw as the burning timber. "Those damn fools." The distant roar of the fire swallowed his words, punctuated by the sickening crack of collapsing beams. Holtstead wasn't just land to Sam. It was his blood, carved from the wild by his great-grandfather, Amos Holt, 5 generations back. Thousands of acres of golden hills, timber forests, and rich pastures nestled in a valley now being choked by the greedy sprawl of Willow Creek, the nearby town, and its overreaching homeowners association. The HOA, a new pest in the valley's long history, had started throwing its weight around, its rules creeping like weeds from the town's tidy sub-VY signs. They wanted uniform fences, manicured lawns, and beige houses. Everything Sam's rugged, working ranch wasn't. His weathered cedar rails, his prize Angus cattle, his wildflower meadows, they called it all unsightly. And Sam, with his ranch technically under their jurisdiction due to some old, sloppy zoning, was their favorite target. The trouble started with money, as it often does. A ridiculous bill for HOA dues landed at Sam's door, citing violations like his cattle and natural meadows. Through his lawyer, Margaret Klein, a no-nonsense woman whose family had served the Holts for decades, Sam fought back, citing the ranch's legal agricultural status. He offered to pay a fair county tax, not the HOA's inflated fees. But Victor Grayson, the HOA's slick, ambitious president, didn't take kindly to defiance. A developer with a fake smile and greed in his eyes, Grayson saw Holtstead as a blight on his dream of a luxury suburb. His letters grew nastier, his threats bolder. The final one, delivered 3 days before the fire, was a venomous ultimatum: pay up or face all necessary actions to protect Willow Creek's aesthetic integrity. Sam had crumpled it and tossed it into his fireplace, telling Margaret to sue Grayson for harassment. He hadn't believed the man would sink so low until the flames proved him wrong. Sirens wailed as volunteer firefighters from Willow Creek battled the blaze, but the old timber burned too fast. By dawn, the ranch's heart was ash and twisted metal, the air thick with the stench of Lawson gasoline. Sheriff Tom Wade, a friend since boyhood, kicked at a dented canister in the rubble. "Arson," he said grimly. "Smells like accelerant." Sam's eyes fixed on the ruins, his voice flat. "Reckon so." His prize bull, Thunder, and most of the herd were safe in a newer corral, but 2 horses and a few beloved heifers were gone. The pain was a knife in his chest, deeper than money could measure. Sam knew Grayson was behind it, but proof was thin, and the sheriff's office was stretched thin. Grayson's influence money spread like cheap fertilizer would bury any investigation. So Sam turned to a weapon Grayson didn't see coming: the Holt Family Foundation. Decades ago, Amos Holt had leased vast tracts of family land to the county for timber, watershed protection, and recreation. The foundation's annual payments, quietly managed by trustees Sam influenced, funded nearly half of Willow Creek's budget roads, schools, even the shiny new subdy VY signs Grayson bragged about. An old clause in the foundation's charter, written by Amos himself, allowed Sam to halt those funds if the county failed to protect Holt property or deliver justice. It was a dusty, forgotten rule until Sam dusted it off. He had Margaret send letters to the foundation's trustees and county officials, invoking the clause. The effect was slow but deadly, like poison in the town's veins. Within weeks, the county's money dried up. Road projects stopped. The library cut hours. Schools froze hiring. Rumors spread, and panic followed. Grayson's Grand Plaza fancy community center, an Olympic-sized pool, crumbled without county funds. His residents, sold on promises of endless prosperity, started grumbling about potholes and failing CRVYCS. The man's polished image cracked, and Sam watched it all from his ranch, silent as stone, clearing the charred debris with a face that gave nothing away. The breaking point came at a town hall meeting packed with angry, scared residents. County Manager Laura Phelps, pale and shaky, tried to explain the budget crisis. The whole foundation's grants, 40 fan tram of our budget are suspended, she said, her voice cracking. The crowd erupted. Why, they shouted. What's going on? Grayson, sitting smugly in the front row, shifted uneasily. Then the doors swung open, and Sam walked in, Margaret at his side. The room fell silent, every eye on the old rancher in his dusty boots and denim shirt. He carried a single charred plank from his barn, small but heavy with meaning. He stopped near the podium, turned to the crowd, and spoke, his voice low but sharp as a blade. "Miss Phelps," he said, eyes like winter ice, "I can clear up your confusion." He held up the plank. "This is all that's left of a barn my great-grandfather built 150 years ago. The whole foundation was set up to keep this valley a place of law and justice. It's Grancher Town's lifeblood are a gift, but they come with a catch. If the county lets a crime like the arson of my ranch go unpunished, that gift stops." He paused, letting the words sink in. "My barns were burned to scare me into paying your HOA's extortion. My animals died. Sheriff Wade says it's arson. And yet, no one's in jail. That breaks the deal my family made with this county." The crowd gasped. Faces paled as the truth hit. Sam's gaze locked on Grayson, who was sweating now. Margaret stepped forward, holding an old leather ledger Amos Holt charter. "We have EVY Denke," she said, her voice cutting like glass. "Afida VYTS, bank records recordings." The HOA, under Mr. Grayson, harassed Sam Holt for years. Days before the fire, they paid Dula $15,000 to 3 men with arson records. "Care to explain, Mr. Grayson?" Grayson shot to his feet, face red with panic. "Lies," he screamed. "Slander. That fire was an accidental wiring. This man's holding us hostage." But the crowd wasn't buying it. "Let Holt speak," someone yelled. "Answer the lawyer," another roared. The tide had turned. Sam raised a hand, silencing the room. "I'm not here to blackmail," he said, voice cold. "But until justice is done, the foundation's money stays frozen. 3 things need to happen. 1, the arsonists and their bosses are caught and locked up. 2, the HOA pays to rebuild my barns, exactly as they were, no matter the cost. 3, the HOA apologizes not to me, but to you, for wrecking this town with their greed." The room exploded. Grayson's allies fled as residents turned on them. Sheriff Wade, fueled by new tips, arrested 2 local thugs who confessed to the fire, naming Grayson's enforcer, who pointed straight at Grayson. The HOA's new leaders, terrified, agreed to Sam's terms. Rebuilding the barns cost millions, nearly bankrupting the HOA. Their public apology, broadcast live, was a humiliating surrender. Sam made 1 call, and the foundation's funds flowed again. The county exhaled, Sarah VY says limping back to life. The new barns rose, perfect replicas of the old, smelling of fresh cedar and defiance. Willow Creek changed. The HOA, humbled, focused on community, not control. The county learned the Holt grants weren't a blank check. Sam went back to his quiet life, a rancher with roots deeper than the cottonwoods, respected now as the valley's guardian. He hadn't wanted to fight, but when it came, he fought with the strength of his ancestors. Pro-VYing justice was worth more than money, and that some lines, once crossed, burned everything down. What do you think? Did Sam go too far, holding the town's funds hostage to get justice? Should he have rebuilt the Barnes Modern instead of bankrupting the HOA? Was Grayson just a greedy VY lane, or did he have a point about progress? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this story got your blood pumping, and subscribe for more tales where the underdog bites back.